What's going on, chosen vessels? It's your main man, Druuill. I'm back at you again with another video. Smash that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. They think it's all fun and games messing with the chosen one, but our Father in heaven doesn't play. All right, people think it's all fun and games messing with the chosen one, but our Father in heaven doesn't play. All right. God is very serious when it comes down to who he chooses for specific things to do what he needs them to do. And depending on whether you're still figuring it out, as long as you know that God's got you here to do something good, as long as you know that God put you here to do something specific, even if you haven't got that figured out yet, while you're in the midst of trying to figure it out, while you're in the midst of figuring things out, trying this, trying that, trying to see what God's really has in store for you and what he wants you to do, while you're praying, while you're asking, when people are trying to play with you and they're mocking you and what you're doing and what you're trying to do, all right, God doesn't play with that. Our Father in heaven doesn't play. Doesn't matter if people see you as somebody that is just, oh, this person looks like they don't have nothing. Let's treat them this way. This person doesn't look like they doesn't deserve respect. Let's treat them that way. This person doesn't look like they have much value. So since they don't look like they have much value, let's treat them this way. These people can't treat you any way they want to because that's just how they feel they can. They think they can, but they're eventually going to have to pay for that because there's going to be karma for their actions, and God's going to be the one to deliver that, because when it comes to the chosen ones, when it comes to us and how God feels about us, all right, he doesn't play any games. All fun and games is over with when it comes to chosen vessels and when it comes to how God looks at us and how he feels about us, because we're doing all we can. We're doing everything that we can. And anybody that wants to intervene that, anybody that wants to play around with that, there's going to be there's going to be trouble for them, because that is something that they have no business doing, and you're basically playing with fire, because when you put your hand in something that God's got his hand on, you're going to get scolded. You're going to get reprimanded. All right, God's going to whoop you. He's going to spank you, because that's something that God has his hand on. It's like somebody trying to intervene with Jesus when he was doing what he was trying to do. God punished them, and they're going to get punished, and they're going to have to pay for what they did to you. They're going to have to pay for what they're trying to do to you. All right, they think it's all fun and games messing with the chosen ones, but our Father in heaven doesn't play. God's got your back. All right, God's still going to see that you get done what you need to get done. God's going to help you get through this. All right, and one of the things that's going to help you get through this is not seeing these people as enemies. All right, these people are trying to attack your mind because they see you're a peaceful person, and once people find out that you're about peace and they don't like you, or they got some type of jealousy towards you, they're going to try to attack that peace by using twisted psychological attacks on you to try to make you not be a peaceful person, to try to come out of that peace. And the one way to help you keep your peace, no matter who's doing what, no matter what is bothering you, no matter what is trying to get on your nerves, all right, if you're a person that stays to yourself, if you're a person that just likes to be left alone, if you're a person that likes peace and you don't like people coming to you with a lot of BS or a lot of foolishness or anything like that, you like to have meaningful conversations. You like to have conversations that spark interest, that make you think, all right, that develop you, that lead you in to become a better person, right? Then the one thing you're going to have to do when you're out and about in the matrix, in the world, and people may try to come into your life and sow confusion, one thing you can do is not have any enemies within. You could tell yourself that I have no enemies within. Because one thing that these evil spirits will do is they'll try to cause themselves to be an enemy to you. They'll try to cause you to be stressed over them and to hate them and to feel some type of way about what they did to you. And they want you to hold on to that. All right. But when it comes to the chosen ones, God doesn't play. God already set up ways for us to not have to be inflicted by the damage they're trying to cause to us spiritually, mentally, and physically, because these attacks will wage war on your spirit. And the one way to not have the war waged on you is to not have any enemies. You got to not see these people as enemies. That's the trick. No matter how hard they deliver a blow to you, no matter how difficult it is to try to look around what they try to do, how many times they try to aggravate you, how bad they try to aggravate you. All right, they may be doing something to you 5 days a week, and in the fifth day, it gets on your nerves to the point where you can't take it anymore. This is how you can withstand their negative repetitions and just see it as nothing. All right, you have to not see them as an enemy. You have to tell yourself that you have no enemies. And that is the trick. That's the one trick to defeating these fools. All right, you have to tell yourself you have no enemies, and you have to not see them as an enemy, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to trick you into thinking that they're your enemy. They're trying to trick you into thinking that they're an enemy to you. All right, and if you have an enemy within, you're going to have an enemy without, because once you accept one enemy, you never just have just one. All right, if you accept one enemy, you accept a whole boatload of them. And that's another trick that the enemy will try to do. As soon as you accept one enemy, you accept a whole bunch of them. So don't accept any enemies. All right, when people are trying to mess with you, when people are playing games with you, let God fight those battles. All right, because God doesn't play with you. So keep that in mind. God's going to fight that battle. God's going to take care of that. I don't have to worry about that. And also keep in mind that you have no enemies. All right. And that's the best thing that you could tell yourself, is that you don't have any enemies. All right. Because if you think that you have enemies, you're going to have enemies. If you think people are out to get you, they're going to be out to get you. And these people may try to make it seem like that from time to time, but it's a trick. It's a trick of the enemy. Even if it does seem like that, even though if people are doing the gang stalking, all right, you know what I'm talking about. Even though if people are doing the monitoring, even if the vampires are vampiring, there's certain things you could tell yourself that will eliminate that and will destroy them. All right. And that is telling yourself that you have no enemies. That will bring you peace. All right. Even your enemies will be at peace with you. I have to get that Bible verse. But there's a Bible verse that says you could get so much peace that your enemies will be at peace with you. And when you can have so much peace within, by telling yourself that when you have no enemies within, even your enemies will be at peace with you. All right. So one thing you can do is tell yourself, I have no enemies. And when you tell yourself you have no enemies, even your enemies will be at peace with you. All right. When you tell yourself that I have no enemies within, when you tell yourself that there is no enemy, then you're going to see these people and you're not going to be angry. You're not going to be frustrated by the thought of them. You're not going to have any resentment towards them. All right. And God is going to take care of that battle for you, because God doesn't play. When you hold on to that, you're making that person, that situation bigger than God. And you're prolonging that. You're not allowing God to fight it. All right. You have to give it to God so he can fight it. You have to let it go. You have to let it go. You can't hold on to it. All right. You can't keep visualizing it. You can't keep thinking about it. You have to wholeheartedly, with your mind, heart, body, and spirit, you got to let that go and give that to God. All right. Because they think it's a game. They think they could play with you. They think they could frustrate you. They think they could upset you. All right. And that's their job. They're here to do that to certain people. And God allows it to happen because it turns you into a better person. It turns you into the chosen vessel that you're supposed to be. All right. So let them think it's all fun. Let them think it's all games, messing with you. They meant it to you for a bad reason. They wanted to harm you. They wanted to frustrate you. They wanted to see you do bad. They didn't want to see you continue to have what you had. Sometimes people are jealous of you because you have a better position. Maybe you have a better job at work and people are trying to agitate you out of that position. They're making your job harder for you. They want to make you leave. They want to make you quit. Don't quit. If you can withstand it, stay there. Because the one thing that is going to help you not be stressed out or have pressure on you, I wish I knew this when I was in a situation like this. I wish I knew this when I was working at places and I had people bothering me and trying to pressure me out of my job. If I knew that if there was no enemy within, there was no enemy without. If I knew that and was meditating on that and was focused on that, I wouldn't have had a lot of issues that I had. I wouldn't have had a lot of problems that I had because even my enemies would have had peace with me. All right, because if there's no enemy within, there's no enemy without. And that is how even your enemies will be at peace with you. And it's just certain things that you have to meditate and say, because whatever you create with your mind, that's what you're going to have. You see yourself being angry at these people, whatever you create in your mind, as far as enemies, as far as people that you don't like, as far as opposition, that's what you're going to have in your reality. And there are instances where people do try to cause you problems and try to cause issues for you, but it's like a game. You could defeat it and stop it. And you could just, and without, no matter how many times it comes, you can keep defeating it and stopping it because it may be on the outside. But as long as you don't let it come within, you're not disturbed. All right. So as long as you're not disturbed, then you're good. As long as your peace isn't disturbed, you're good. As long as you don't feel any issues or any internal conflicts as a result of dealing with these people or having them do whatever it is they've done to try to sabotage your success or upset you or frustrate you, you're good. Because when you have to be able to find peace in the fact that God is going to take care of this, because God doesn't play when it comes to people who believe in him, people who want to do their best, and people who want to do what God tells them to do for themselves so that they can benefit other people. Because you have to make the most out of yourself, all right, to be able to help yourself. And when you're doing that, and when the opposition sees that, and when they try to get in the way, they're putting themselves in a bad position. Because woe unto those who call good evil. All right. When you call good evil and when you call evil good, God says woe unto you. They are calling their evil good. The evil things that they're doing it for fun. They're doing it to try to cause you to quit the dream, the goal, the vision that you have. They're trying to make you stop, and that's fun for them. Since they don't have a vision of their own, it's fun for them to try to stop yours. It's fun for them to try to discourage you. It's fun for them to try to stop you, to try to make you quit, to try to make you give up. All right, people want to make you so angry that you don't even work on your goals that day. You spend the whole day upset and angry over them. And to avoid that, because I understand, I'm somebody who gets angry from time to time. I'm somebody that gets upset and frustrated when people just won't leave me alone. So I gotta find some things to say to avoid from ruining my day, because people I used to allow things like this to control me and to ruin my day, because I would be thinking about it all day long. I'd be ruminating over it. I'd be asking myself why, trying to figure out why, trying to see, trying to pray for the person to change. People aren't going to change unless they want to change. It's good to pray for people to change, but a person is not going to change unless they want to change. So you have to pray that God will just remove that spirit off of them. All right, you just have to pray that that spirit stays away from you, that you don't have to entertain any spirits like that. And the one way to keep that spirit away from you, that you don't have to entertain any spirits like that, is by telling yourself that you don't have any enemies. That's one of the best things you could say when you meditate on that. When you keep repeating that over and over again, it's going to bring you peace. All the stress from gang stalking and monitoring spirits and all these people unnecessarily paying attention, all that stress is going to fade away. So there are things you can say that will bring you peace in a time of need. All right, you can say, I have no enemies. There's no enemy within. And God created that. God made that for us to say that so we can have peace. And I want you to have peace, because when I say that, it brings me peace. And if you watch my channel, you know gang stalking is something that happens, and I don't think that it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not disagreeing with it. But one thing to fight it, one thing to battle it, and one thing to destroy it, so that it doesn't have to be something that's ever present in your mind. There's evil and there's wickedness in the world, but it doesn't have to be ever present in your mind. That's why God says to focus on things that are good, things that are pure, things that are holy. And something that's pure to focus on, something that's good to focus on, something that's holy to focus on is, I have no enemies. There is no enemy within. All right, there's no enemy within, there's no enemy without. And once you get to that state of mind, God can do jujitsu and all types of karate and fight all types of battles for you. And because you're not trying to fight it, you're getting out the way. When you try to fight it, you're in God's way. When you get out God's way, God can do whatever you need him to do for you. All right, so let God fight your battles for you. All right, this battle is not yours. If you're fighting a battle, that's why you've been stressed out. That's why you've been worn out. That's why you've been whooped out, because these demons, God's going to destroy these demons. All right, and you destroy these demons by destroying your inner demons, by destroying the inner negativity that these demons try to put in you. And you work on you, God will work on them. So you work on you work on making yourself better, and you work on yourself, working on your mind, working on your stress, working on your health, working on how you feel about these situations, not letting them control you, not letting enemies get inside your mind, not letting people create a reality for them to be an enemy in your mind. And when you don't allow people to create a reality for them to be an enemy in your mind, you won't attract them as an enemy anymore. They might be trying to attract to you and your world as an enemy, but the connection won't be there because there's no enemies within you. All right, so that way you won't be able to attract the enemies on the outside, because they may be coming after you, but they'll have to be at peace with you, because there is no enemy within. Since there's no enemy within, no enemy without. All right, this has probably been one of the most peaceful videos I've made in a while. And like, now that I've been brought back to this, and sometimes you got to remember certain things. All right, you can't remember everything all the time, but that's why it's always good to be working on yourself, and that's why it's always good to keep affirming these things and always stay close to God, because God will put you in the right mindset. Whatever you forget, God will help you remember. When you leave the Father's house, you could go back. All right, when you forget certain things, when you forget certain truths, when you forget certain principles, it's called leaving the Father's house. So when you remember these principles and your energy is restored and your mind is renewed and you get back to Christ consciousness, you're back in the Father's house, right where you belong. All right, and the demons can't get to you, gang stalkers can't get to you, these things can't get to you. They may try to attack us. All right, they may try to, I know, as soon as you open your door, as soon as you walk outside, here they are. I know. But great peace have they who love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. All right, and that great peace is there. If there's no enemy within, there's no enemy without. That great peace is, I have gotten rid of all of my enemies. That great peace is, I have gotten rid of the idea of enemies. That great peace is, I have no enemies. All right, that great peace is, God is destroying all of my enemies. God is making enemies my footstool. Okay? All right, the enemies are supposed to be beneath you, not inside. All right, the enemies are supposed to be underneath your feet, and by putting them underneath your feet, you shall say, I have no enemies. All right, I have gotten rid of the idea of enemies. Keep saying these things, keep repeating these things. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. I have no enemies. There's no enemies within. There's no enemies without. There's no enemies within. There's no enemies without. It's going to bring you peace. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to make your head feel good. All right, no headaches from these people. No worrying about these people. These people want you to be worried about them all day long. They'll do something to you and have you worrying about it for hours. But in order to stop that, in order to let that go so you could truly not be angry, because sometimes we try to tell ourselves things and the anger will still be there. The idea of the person will still be there. The visualization, the picture of what they did to us is still in our mind, still feels fresh, it's still lingering. And all that negativity is just brewing and we're upset, we're mad, we want to get rid of it, we don't know how. You got that enemy inside. That's how. All right, you gotta let that go. You gotta let the idea of that go. You gotta let that enemy go. That's an enemy to you. And when you feel like that, you can say, "There's no enemies within. I am not mad. I am not mad. I am not angry. That did not make me mad. That is not something that can make me mad. That is not something that can make me angry. They do not have control over me. They don't have control over my anger. I'm not going to allow that to make me mad." And you can say these things to yourself, keep them to yourself. All right, I understand how it is to be angered. I understand how it is to be vexed. And we don't want to give them that power. So we take our power back by taking accountability and assuming responsibility for ourselves. And we can do that with these affirmations. We just have to remember, instead of putting our focus on them, put our focus back on us, say our affirmations. That's our power. That's our spell. All right, they're trying to hit us with a spell. We gotta, boom, be quick with our spell, just like they show in the movies. Whoever do their little magic wand thing first, that's who gets it popping. That's who's not that's who can inflict some damage real quick first. You seen them Harry Potter movies? Whoever did their little magic wand first, that's who cast a spell first on the person. It was all about whoever could do it first. So as soon as you see them, start thinking positive. You should already, before you walk outside, start saying these things. All right. Send your messenger before your face. That's another thing we have to start doing. Setting our messenger before our face. Start expecting positive. Start expecting to not have any enemies instead of expecting the gang stalkers and all that to be there. We know they're there, but you don't want to expect that they're there because we don't want to attract them. We don't want to get that out of them. We want to have a positive experience, a happy experience, a healthy experience when we step out into the world. So let's not have any enemies when we step out into the world. Let's not have any enemies outside. All right, when we outside, we don't want any enemies. We don't want to have any enemies. We want peace. We don't want war. God's gonna fight our battles for us. We just want to be able to not have any issues and not have any problems mentally. Anything physical, God's got our back. But as far as mental, we want to be able to have peace. If you can have peace mentally, you can have peace physically. All right, so take care of your mind. Your mind is going to dictate your reality. So what you think, that's what you're going to experience. That's what you're going to have. Don't allow these people to cause you to think negatively so they can further prolong a negative experience, a negative spell they may be trying to cast on your life. These people are trying to cast spells on our life with negative experiences. They want us to stay stuck in that matrix. They're trying to create a negative reality for us by doing something evil to us and making us think that that's how people are, and making us focus on that and think that, and trying to make us believe that that's how other people are as well. So when you think that that's how people are, that's what you're going to get out of people, and that's their evil sick spell that they're trying to put on us. So since we know, we're aware, okay, they're trying to put a spell on me to make me question my reality, to make me think that people are acting a certain way when this person's just feeling this type of way. It's just these people in this apartment complex. It's just the people at this job. It's just the people on this little strip that I have to go back and forth through because maybe they're watching me a little too heavy. Maybe it's a little bit of jealousy, but I'm not going to take any enemies in because of that. I'm not going to form any enemies within myself because of that. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. I don't have to form any enemies in me just because somebody is a hater. Okay, I've been forming enemies in me because of haters, negative people, negative influences, the gang stalking. No more. I'm not forming any more negative energies in me. I'm not forming any more enemies in me. All right, there may be enemies on the outside, but I'm not going to have any on the inside. Praise God. All right, if you made it to the end of this video, you are a real chosen vessel, one of the realest. As you know, we're about to bring this video to a close. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. Smash that like button, smash that share button, and smash that subscribe button. Whenever you feel enemies starting to brew up in your life, if you want them to brew back down and go back to another town, all right, so you could have a mind that's very sound, come back to this video and watch it. Come back to this video and play it over again, so that way you could have some peace. That way your mind will be at ease. And that way you could focus on what you're supposed to be focused on. That way you could be relaxed, all right, and enjoy your day. I'll see everybody in the next video. This has been another DruTube special. Shout out to the chosen vessels. We out.